So the Boston Celtics failed to put away the Dallas Mavericks in Game 4 of the NBA Finals, a dominant win for the Mavs, getting into all-time territory, and Dallas now has the better point differential in the NBA Finals despite being in a 3-1 hole. But just a fantastic showing from Dallas over the weekend that they absolutely needed. And the big part of it was Luka showed up. There was a lot of talk about Luka Doncic coming out of Game 3 where he fouls out, the wheels kind of fall off, and it feels like the Mavericks are basically done. Luka heard the critics and he showed up. And again, we talked about it on the show. This Dallas Mavericks team isn't close to this spot without Luka Doncic. So yes, did the effort need to be better? 100%. Did he need to be better? 100%. Does that mean you can't win with him? 0%, in fact. But Luka showed up. His defensive effort was so much better in this game. No one is ever going to mistake him for like Giannis or LeBron or like even a Bruce Bowen defensive shutdown guy. But just stay in front of them. You are a big person. Be a big person and be in the way. Can't you? That's basically all they are looking for. And for him to do that, it really helps set up the rest of the offense. Because we talked about it coming out of Game 3. It wasn't just like, oh, Tatum blows by and gets to the rim and it's a layup, whatever. It's Brown gets even half a step, so the help defender has to come. That leaves this guy open. Okay, now I'm going to kick it there, and now your defense is scrambling for the next, 5, 10, 15 seconds, depending on when they decide to activate that particular motion, I guess. And so it just sets everything off, and then that wears everything down. And so now you get Luka coming in, who is... you get a better version of Luka, coming in, and now he is staying in front of guys, and now Boston has to figure out other ways of either getting an entry or getting a quality shot off. And we'll talk about the make-miss nature of this game in a little bit, but one of the things that came from this early on was Boston's shot quality was, I thought, significantly worse than what we've seen in other parts of this series, and I think it all stems from Luka just not being 100% a liability. And so I'm interested now in Game 5 tonight. Does Boston just assume that he's not going to be able to do that 2 games in a row and just go at him again? Or is there a different kind of entry point? We know Kyrie has improved the defensive intensity a little bit, but is that an area that they try to attack now? So I'll be interested to see how Boston can do that. But another big key from this, it's not just being able to set up your defense. That is obviously the big part of it. But now I guess a side effect coming out of that is the shot quality isn't necessarily there for Boston. So the shots, by definition, aren't falling. And now Dallas is able to push. And now Dallas's defense, that has been so good this postseason, it hasn't been able to get set up. And you get some mismatches, you get some bigger opportunities, and you get more opportunities at the rim, which is where Dallas just lived in Game 2. So all of that with just one adjustment, and it's an easy adjustment to make, it's just the hardest one. It's the effort that you need to get out there. And then offensively, he was tremendous. Luka got everything he wanted. His positioning, his strength, and his ability are just so difficult to beat. He has such an understanding of what he does well. And he does it better than almost anyone in the league. Maybe better than anyone in the league. When he just gets a step, he knows positioning, he knows where the other defender wants to be, he knows where he is looking to go, and then he knows how the other team is going to react off of it. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch when Luka Doncic really gets rolling, to see how much he can manipulate. And then so much comes off of that, right? Because again, help defender comes, we're lobbing it up, and we're yamming down on you. Or help defender comes, so we can swing it around, and we're getting an open look. Exum's hitting from 3. Kyrie's hitting from 3. Washington can, although that's still, for a game where they really bounced back, still quiet from Washington, but we're not going to harp on that too much. It's just so many different things stem off of what Luka is able to do. And then you get the Kyrie aspect of it. He stepped up as well. It's not going to be talked about as much because he's just not, as much as he would like to be, he's not the Batman here. But he got his shot going early. And again, for someone who is a very good shooter, you also see that he has one of the best handles in the history of the league, and he's getting to the rim. And then again, it's creating opportunities off of that. And that is so much of what this game is, man. Just get to the rim and see what happens. Get to the paint, see what happens. And this is where there could be something actionable coming out of this. Again, odds are the Boston Celtics are going to win the NBA championship. And odds would suggest they're going to do it in about 2.5 hours from the time that I'm recording this. But this is still something Boston needs to worry about. They don't just get to win it because, this is probably Boston's turn to win it. They're at home. How could they not want to win it at home? As my cat comes up and surprises me while I'm whipping my head around. So there we go. Hey. This is Bailey, everyone. Say hi to Bailey. Um, but the thing that I think is actionable from this game is with no KP, the Boston Celtics. Well, you were just full on just blocking the mic, hey? The Boston Celtics really have no rim production. See, I'm not talking louder. You just anyway. The Boston Celtics really have no rim protection without Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup, and that is, I think, something that Dallas was able to exploit here. A lot of the focus for Boston from this game is going to be, I think, offensively. And so much of the focus from KP is going to be offensively. But what he provides defensively, they just don't have anyone else. Offensively, Horford can hit the long shot every now and then. You have Drew, you have White, you have Brown, you have Tatum. Hauser can come in, hit a couple of shots. Pritchard can come in, hit a couple of shots. You have guys who can do it. They ain't got nobody who protects the rim the way KP protects the rim. And Dallas was like, oh, we can just score here? Well, let's just score here then. That was basically what they did. The entire time, they just attacked, and they got bucket after bucket after bucket. I think they outscored them like 3-1 in the paint. I'm pretty sure it was around 60-20 were paint points in this game. They just owned the paint in game 4. And like I said, I don't think Boston has someone that can really limit that. So now the adjustment has to be, you can't let your guy beat you. This is a switchable defense, I think, for the most part with the Boston Celtics. You are going to have to keep your guy in front of you. Turn this Dallas Mavericks team into a jump shooting team. You cannot allow that many good looks in the paint again in this game. That the perimeter defense, I think, has to step up because that interior defense just isn't going to get better. Horford is not all of a sudden going to turn into Ben Wallace. All right, Tillman, who has been everything they could have wanted from him, isn't all of a sudden going to be Dennis Rodman in there swatting shots away. They are going to need need their perimeter defenders to keep things on the perimeter, and not allow these guys to get beat, because that was such a key in this one. Is you see the other players stepping up, with whether it be Exum, whether it be Lively hitting a 3 in this game. Jones has had a couple of looks as well, and then Jones, when he gets it on the outside, they can kind of basically sag off of him, but he also has been so explosive in getting to the rim that it sometimes doesn't even matter. So I think that there is a lot of interesting things that can come out of this one, and if Dallas can kind of make them work, it's going to be really interesting. But the big part of this that I think doesn't necessarily carry over into game 5 is the role player shooting. And that has always been something in the playoffs, in the NBA, where the role players just play better at home. They were all doggy doo-doo in games 1 and 2 in Boston. And if that is the case tonight, like, as good as Luka and Kyrie have been, I just don't think they can beat this Celtics team alone. They are going to need some of these guys to build this off of this momentum from these games in Dallas and carry it over now to the TD Garden tonight. As far as the Celtics go, it would be easy to say that this was just a lack of killer instinct. Okay, you can't just hang out bumping the mic. It would be easy to say that this was just a lack of killer instinct. And to a certain degree, they lacked that. They were certainly out-hustled by the Mavericks. Their defense just wasn't good enough, and they got killed on the glass. Like, anything that points to effort was all pointing toward the Dallas Mavericks side. And you would expect that when you have a situation where one team can sweep and one team is fighting for their season. Like, that's just going to be the case. But there are some reasons why I don't know if that was all of it. As the second quarter got going, Boston, the looks were getting better and better. I just praised Dallas's defense, but the Boston Celtics were getting some better looks from 3. They just weren't falling. And so there is, I do think, a little bit of make-miss league involved in this. Dallas did a whole lot to swing a lot of that stuff into their favor, for sure. And I'm not taking anything away from what the Mavericks did in a dominant Game 4 performance. All I am saying is there were some times where the Celtics had some wide open shots and it would just boom, 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 and out, like just rimming out. It just half a centimeter off either way, and it falls. And I mean, Dallas's credit, they were half a centimeter on the whole time, and all of their shots were falling. But a few of those start to go down, then it starts to get nervous out in Dallas on Dirk Nowitzki way, and it does start to maybe slow down that momentum a little bit. I do think that some of those will fall back in Boston, although we did see a putrid shooting performance from the Celtics in game 2. But I think some of those start to fall for the Celtics. But this isn't just a game where you can be like, yeah, make or miss, they were desperate, we can just move on. Because again, as I said, there are some things the Celtics need to work on for this game. The defense needs to be significantly better. I don't know how you get that with the rim protection, so you have to keep guys away from the rim. And I do think that there needs to be a little bit of a better job of, oh shit, we can't get past Luka, well now what do we do? Your offense this entire season hasn't just been drive and kick and see what happens. They have done a really good job of creating some opportunities, and I think they maybe fell into a bit of a lull with just, we'll just attack Luka and just go from there. There needs to be more of a plan B. There needs to be a bit more of an attack from the Celtics here. I do think there is quite a bit of pressure on Boston tonight. This is a Celtics team that has, in the past, kind of been beaten up a little bit for not putting teams away and lacking that killer instinct that we talked about. This is a chance to do it at home and a chance to just silence all of that. Because if it doesn't, then you're going back to Dallas for Game 6. And then you have to win a game on the road, or you're coming back for Game 7. So I don't think that this is like must-win territory for the Celtics given the situation. But I do think that things get a little bit tense if it doesn't happen tonight.